The young Metro,
Lillard, long range three.
beautiful morning. Get the sun up,
We back, boys. You know, it's been about 3 weeks since we've uploaded a video, and I know it's never happened on the history of this channel. But you guys gotta understand, like, we're high school seniors, and you know, it's a busy time of year, and also Casey got like 3 pretty bad illnesses at once. He can explain that more in a second. But yeah, but we're finally back, and yeah, man, Casey, it's good to be back, man.
It does, yeah. And we have been enjoying a lot of sports along with studying for finals.
For sure.
However, the World Cup's been great, I will say, before we get into college football, which we're gonna be talking about today for you guys, which we're excited to bring. World Cup's been awesome. Ton of upsets. USA did pretty well. So we've loved that. We wanted to cover that. I know a lot of you guys have watched a prediction video for that. So we'll do a recap of that when it's all over. But let's get into it. As Oliver said, yeah, I've just been extremely sick, unable to talk for the last week with strep, mono, and a really bad sinus infection. But I'm on good medicine now, so we're on the upswing. And let's get into this video.
Get it, boys. Let's get it. Let's dive right into Bowl Mania. And if you guys see group CEO Sports Talk, and there's a period at the end because for some reason CEO Sports Talk name was taken for this year's Bowl Mania, which doesn't make much sense. But join this. I'll put the link in the description. Everyone join up. It's gonna be a lot of fun, just like last year.
Winner gets to come on the show as well. Shout out
Exactly.
Luke.
Let me create a new entry for this. Okay. So Miami, Ohio, and UAB. Kind of a no-brainer for me. I'm picking UAB, but Miami, Ohio, they got off to a really bad start. So I commend them for getting back to bowl eligibility, but UAB's been a lot better all year, and I think they'll take care of the Red Hawks.
You know, tough one to choose here. Yeah, zoom in there as well. Obviously, I love these bowls just to begin with. The first ones that happened before Christmas. I mean, this one happens on Friday. A Bahamas Bowl. Love this. Miami, Ohio. Shout out MA, former Menlo Atherton QB from our area, Matt McLeod, if he's third string on Miami, Ohio. So I'm going to go with them. They had played Kentucky pretty well preseason. They did a good job in the MAC competing. They got the bowl eligibility. They're both 6-6. I'm going to go with the Miami, Ohio Redhawks getting this win to differ from Oliver. So we already are switching up who we have there.
Yeah. Here I'm taking Troy. I think it's gonna be a good game. But Troy, man, I like these Sun Belt teams. They're gritty. They played a lot of teams well. Troy beat App State in the beginning of the year, who was almost ranked. And you know, I think they beat, or I don't know if they played actually like some decent opponents and went 11-2 and ranked 24th in the nation. And I like this Troy team, so I'm taking them over University of Texas San Antonio.
Yeah, I'll go with Troy as well. Both these teams have had really good few years. The Cure Bowl is another famous one. UTSA, I believe, had that really good year last year. Unless that was UTEP. No, that was UTSA, yeah. And then Troy, I remember that crazy game they had versus Appalachian State, who had themselves a year. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Troy as well. They're ranked right now.
Yeah, actually, you can go first for this one, so we can alternate.
Yeah, here, first time we got Power 5 teams going. Louisville and Cincinnati. Luke Fickell's head of the Wisco. I'm not sure if he'll be coaching this game, but they obviously had a little bit of a down year not winning the American after those 2 Desmond Ritter campaigns they had the years before. So I'm actually going to have Louisville to beat them. You know, they have the ACC experience over American, and they weren't awful this year. They had a few big wins. 7-5, still made the bowl.
Yeah. I think Cincinnati will win this. Don't think it will be that close, to be honest, but I can see where you come from here. I mean, you never really know with these kind of matchups. I feel like they're kind of trapped in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Like, come on. So we'll see, but yeah, I got Cincinnati.
Any guy on the team that's pro bound anyway is going to be opting out.
Yeah. Cricket Celebration Bowl. Pretty sure this is just 2 HBCUs.
Yeah, it's like basically the HBCUs, they don't make the FCS playoffs by choice, I believe. So this is like their championship.
Yeah, and I think Jackson State. I doubt Dion will be coaching it, but it's still like they just have so much, like they have the talent edge over any HBCU. So
Yeah, I'm taking Jackson State for sure. And Dion is coaching it. I believe he's finishing it
Oh,
out
that's awesome.
because he's always like, I just want to. He's been at Boulder like preparing, which first of all I think is a great hire for Colorado. But then he's says he wants to finish out and win the championship with his guys. I think even some of those guys may be playing, like Travis and his son. So yeah, definitely Jackson State. Even though they did lose this game last year when everyone thought they were going to win.
Yeah. All right.
Florida, Oregon State. I'm really excited about this game. I was actually hoping Oregon State would maybe get a better bowl game because they had such a great year. I mean, I remember being like 2015, 16, 17. Oregon State probably won 3 games total in those 3 years. And here they are now winning 9 games. Feels crazy seeing Oregon State be 9-3. It doesn't feel real, but here they are. And they were really good this year. So I like them beating Florida in Vegas. I had this game last year, but they lost to Utah State, but I think they'll get revenge this year and win by 7, and I don't think AR-15 is playing for the Gators anyways.
All right. Yeah. Like you said, I think Oregon probably could have gotten a better bowl, ranked 14th in the nation. Florida, like just mid per usual. I feel like they've gotten like 6-6 in like 4 straight years. Yeah, like you said, AR-15 might not play, probably won't. Oregon wants to cap off their year. Oregon State, sorry, wants to cap off their year with a nice win in the bowl game, and I think they just have the edge in pretty much every aspect of this game. I think Oregon
Yeah.
State wins. Next, Washington State versus Fresno State. Fresno State got off to a really bad start and then really rebounded. I believe Jake Hayner is still their quarterback. And yeah, and Washington State kind of opposite story. However, I think just kind of like the Pac-12 talent level is going to show over Mountain West. So I'm going to pick Washington State here.
Yeah, this is a really good game as well. And I kind of agree with you. I'm going to go for the Cougars to win it, but I think we'll be really close. Fresno State has some dogs that are going to be playing for the last time ever as a Bulldog. Jake Hayner, as you mentioned, really good QB. And then Jordan Mims, also with the Melo Atherton, really good running back. Nico Remigio, the transfer from Cal. Fresno State has a lot of dogs that they get from the Bay Area, junior college transfers, a lot of guys. So shout out to Fresno. They played Oregon State well preseason as well. But I'm going to go with the Cougars just because their quarterback, Cam Ward, is a really, really good player. Cameron Ward, incarnate word transfer. He played really well this year. They slowed down. I mean, dude, the Pac-12 was so brutal this year when you're a middle of the pack team like Washington State. So the fact they even made a bowl is really impressive. I mean, those 5 teams that they lost to are all top 20, 15 teams. So yeah, and then Nikhil Watson, really good running back. Wisconsin transfer, I believe, and they beat Wisconsin this year. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cougars.
Yeah. And here you go. The Rice versus Southern Miss.
Yeah, Rice Owls, Southern Miss.
Wait, how did Rice make a bowl at 5-7?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, Cal could have made it, but I'm gonna go Southern Miss because 1, I refuse to pick a 5-7 team to win a bowl, and 2, they have Frank Gore's son, Southern Miss, Frank Gore Jr. So shout out Southern Miss. I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah, yeah, a little confused on that, but I'm also going Southern Miss. Again, another Sun Belt team beat JMU earlier in the season. I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
they may have beat Tulane actually. Is that Southern Miss?
I might be committed.
Yeah, they beat Tulane on
Okay, yeah.
24th.
Yeah, I think they have some good wins this year. I'm not sure if they beat JMU. It might be confusing with another like Southern Georgia or something, but
Yeah, it's Tulane.
oh no, I was thinking of Georgia Southern. JMU lost to Georgia Southern. But still, Southern Miss, good baseball school too. Yeah, I'm picking them over Rice. Like, come on. BYU SMU. It's a bit tough. I think SMU, like, they got into a bunch of shootouts this year. Good offensive team. BYU really disappointing. I honestly I thought they were gonna be a playoff dark horse. Didn't happen. 7-5. This is really tough. I'm gonna give the edge to BYU though.
Yeah, this is a really good game. It's 2 teams that like I feel like obviously aren't Power 5, but they're up there that can compete just like with them. Like BYU always competes, and SMU is really solid this year. Quarterback Tanner Mordecai, Oklahoma transfer, that guy threw for so many touchdowns and so many yards this year. They just air it out.
Yeah.
But I am gonna go with BYU because you talked about they were very battle tested. They played Notre Dame, they played Arkansas, they played a really tough schedule, Oregon, Baylor. So I think BYU is a bit more battle tested and beats SMU. And Jaron Hall's pretty good.
Yeah.
North Texas Mean Green taking on Boise State. North Texas is a really fascinating team. I believe their quarterback's in his 30s. He went to the MLB and then he still had college eligibility. So he
Oh
came.
yeah, yeah. They're like a 29-year-old quarterback. It's really
Yeah,
good.
and he's a really good player. But Boise State, yeah, Austin Ani is his name. He's really good. So I'm gonna go with them actually to win this game. Boise State's been up and down all year. I believe
Minority.
they lost to Fresno State in the championship of the Mountain West, so they're not too hot right now. I'm gonna go with a shocking upset here of North Texas to beat Boise State in the Frisco Bowl down in Texas, and they'll also have home field advantage.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, I think I can. Yeah, I can see that because North Texas. I know they were t like pretty high in the nation in a lot of offensive metrics. Like
Uh,
they just a really good offensive team. But I'm still gonna go Boise State. I just think overall they've
yeah,
been a better team this year and they've played better competition. I think that's what it's gonna come down to in the end. Um, Marshall versus UConn. Big shout out to UConn for getting here. I mean, probably top two worst team with UMass last year in the nation,
yeah.
at least for FBS, and they battled back and they became bowl eligible. With that being said, I'm taking the team that beat Notre Dame early in the year. And that's Marshall. I mean, Marshall's gonna win this game, but I just want to congratulate UConn for even getting there.
Yeah, good shout. That's UConn being bowl eligible again, but yeah, I am gonna go for Marshall in the Myrtle Bowl down in South Carolina.
Myrtle.
They beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame this year, and they played really well. And ND ended up being good after that. If they didn't lose to Stanford, that team could have gone easily 9-3. So, yeah. Also, really good running back. They have that team in Laborn, I believe is his name. So yeah, Marshall, I'm gonna go with.
Also, breaking Giants news: Giants just signed Sean Manea. So good lefty.
Wow, big signing for the San Francisco Giants. If you're a fan, that's huge. I mean, that's a big arm. Obviously, now we got Logan Webb, of course, Rodon if he stays, and Manea. I don't know about Rodon, but if he
Yeah,
does,
it's a good lefty to add. So yeah, I like that signing. Okay, San Jose Spartans, man, love this. Love to see this, and then Eastern Michigan.
yeah, this is my pick. Yeah, so San Jose State, man, that team has gone through so much this year. They obviously lost a player, I believe, on like the day before they were a game day. They were like leaving. He passed away. In Eastern Michigan, I really don't know much about. They're another MAC school that definitely plays a tough schedule. Mountain West and MAC are both very similar conferences, but I'm gonna go with San Jose State. They have a lot to play for, and they're a very solid team every year. They've had some big wins this year.
Yeah. Uh, I really want San Jose State to win this, and like you said, I don't really know much about Eastern Michigan. Didn't get a chance to watch them, but San Jose State like really impressed me when I did see them. They hung with Auburn, an
True.
SEC school, for like a good amount of time. They only lost by 8, I think. So one
I
score.
really like their coach too. I thought maybe Stanford had a shot of hiring him. I know that they had a really good hire in Troy Taylor, but Brennan is a really good coach at San Jose State.
Yeah. So famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Really
Uh,
like San Jose State here. Liberty and Toledo. I'm gonna pick Toledo just because Liberty. I think they started off like 7-1, and it just kind of have been. They kind of just limped away into this bowl game. So I like Toledo here. I think they've been more consistent all year round, and I don't know Liberty. Like just I don't really like the school much, so I'm just gonna pick Toledo.
yeah, Liberty's been horrendous lately. They lost 4 straight, including they lost to UConn. So I'm not going to go with them. And Toledo's a gritty team. Every single year that team plays a hard team. They're always in the have a bowl game no matter what. Last year, I remember they competed with Notre Dame really well in South Bend,
Oh yeah,
and they're just a gritty team for the MAC. The MAC is a really good conference, actually. I mean, it's up there for the sixth best one with the American Mountain West. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Toledo.
all right.
Sun Belt. And then another one here, Western Kentucky. Shout out Bailey Zapp versus South Alabama. You know, obviously South Alabama has a really good record this year. However, I'm actually going to go with the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. I think they played a solid schedule. Yeah,
Yeah,
they forced overtimers in
I
India.
think you look at these percentages and you're like, wow, Alabama must win, right? But people just look at these records.
Right. Yeah.
Oh
There's a
yeah,
lot
they're
of
better. No,
Canada.
it's gonna be Western Kentucky. Um, what's his name? I think his name's Austin Reed or something like. What's the?
Yeah, Austin Reed.
Okay, yeah, that's his name. Yeah, he
QB.
won the job early in the year, like before the season started, and it's been really good. I mean, Western Kentucky just plays a fascinating style of football where they just only throw the ball, they just air it out and air it out. And it was really fun to watch Bailey Zappi last year, right? throw like 6,000 yards, 62 touchdowns, breaking FBS records and stuff like that. I remember they played Northern Illinois last year in a bowl game. They put up like 60 something. So they're fun to watch, and I think they'll beat South Alabama.
I know South Alabama's in the Sun Belt, which isn't bad, and they did really well. But they aren't awful. They only lost to UCLA by 1, Oliver, and they played
Oh,
Troy
that's true.
only by 4. So I could see South Alabama. I just think their secondary is going to struggle with the Western Kentucky air raid.
Yeah, facts. Uh, disappointing Baylor season versus Air Force. I haven't really watched Air Force much.
Was this the Lockett Arms Force Bowl? Yeah, this always has a team from the military.
I'm gonna pick Baylor just because like Big 12 team, but I could see Air Force winning this.
Yeah, I think Power 5 stays dominant here, and I go Baylor, although I know you look at the records and you think, but I think that Baylor obviously is in one of the better conferences, and Blake Shapen, solid QB, good run game. I think they'll win it. Not a blowout, but close game. Air Force, good team.
Yeah.
Louisiana, Raging Cajuns versus Houston. Shout out Houston basketball. Some of the #1 team in the country, but they lost it yesterday, losing to Alabama.
Yeah. Crazy. Alabama's gonna probably be the #1 team in basketball. They used to be pretty horrendous.
Yeah, so here we go, Houston. But I'm gonna go with Houston. I really wanted to go with UL, but they've had some tough losses this year, and Houston's been pretty solid. They went to overtime versus Tulane, so they competed in the American well.
Yeah, Houston, another team, really good offense, poor defense, and that's kind of been the story of the year. Preseason, they were ranked, I think, 24th. They're just disappointing. They've had a lot of close losses, though. I think Houston will win this. Wake Forest versus Mizzou, going Wake
Ooh, Power
Forest.
5 is Power 5. We're back at those.
Yeah, which is nice.
After
Um,
Christmas, they all get
Kind of
really
a
good.
disappointing season for Wake Forest, but I just don't trust Mizzou in any sort of like game at all, really. Um, so Sam Hartman's playing, I assume, maybe
Yeah,
not, but uh, so yeah, I like Wake Forest here.
Yeah, I remember you can go watch this video if you're watching this, but we did our preseason predictions for college football. Really good video. And we were all super high on Wake Forest. But then I believe Sam Hartman got a medical issue and wasn't allowed to play. So I was super bummed because I had them going far. But then he got cleared midseason,
Yeah.
was able to play. And they had such a good start. I think they were 4-0 when they hosted Clemson and lost in overtime. But ever since that, they lost to FSU too. They've really kind of fell off and went 7-5. But they are definitely a talented team, and I have them beating Missouri for sure. So yeah, Wake Forest. They could have easily gone like 9-3.
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee versus San Diego State. Kind of inconsistent. This was in Hawaii though, so I'm definitely going to go with San Diego State. I mean, that travel for Middle Tennessee is brutal. On Christmas Eve, going all the way to Hawaii. And San Diego State. They seem to always play in this bowl or Fresno State, so I'll go with them. And they're not awful. You know, they beat San Jose State. They've been competing, so I'm gonna go with the Aztecs for sure. Shout out their new stadium too, very nice. Also,
Yeah.
they've made the trip already once this season, all the way to Hawaii. Just kidding, that game was at home.
Yeah, I'm also going to San Diego State. Another nice redemption story just for this year, though. I mean, I never really noticed their logo was SD, to be honest. It's kind of, I don't know
Oh,
how
that's kind of cool. I never noticed that either.
so yeah, I mean, they started off pretty poor as well. They were like 1-4 or something. I don't even remember, but they bounced back. I think they're just a hotter team, and I think that's what matters going in. But Middle Tennessee don't sleep. I'm pretty sure they did have a pretty big win over someone. I just can't remember. This is like a Middle Tennessee football. They had some big win, maybe not. Oops. Oh yeah, they crushed Miami, which was I was kind of surprised when it happened.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know Miami wasn't good, but yeah. So yeah, San Diego State here. So this is the Quick Lane Bowl Battle of Mid. I mean, this is like like I don't really care who wins this, and I don't really know who will win it. I'll go with New Mexico State. Just beat out like Valparaiso or something. So I don't know, but don't really know, don't really care.
Yeah, Oliver. So could you name trivia what conference New Mexico State is in?
Good question, man. I assume just like Mountain West or something.
They're one of the 7 or 8 teams in America that's an independent. So they're like Notre Dame or BYU,
Okay.
uh, Army now, I guess, in Connecticut that just play their own schedule. So they played a lot of random teams. Like they've been to Hawaii, FIU, Wisconsin. But I think Bowling Green's played a more consistent schedule in the MAC, and that'll prepare them more. I think Bowling Green wins this one. But yeah, definitely a weird matchup here. I think day after Christmas, I probably won't be watching this.
Probably will. Yeah. Come on now. 11:32. I'll be sleeping. Here's Georgia Southern to beat JMU.
Yeah, Buffalo, Georgia Southern. Buffalo's always an interesting team, but yeah, I'll go with Georgia Southern. And by the way, Georgia Southern's had a lot of good pros in the NFL. You can shout out Matt Breida. I think Younghoe Koo went there. So
Yeah.
that Georgia Southern.
Yep. And that was my pick as well. Georgia Southern. Call it an upset if you want, just based on the majority, but it's a team that is another Sun Belt team, and I really think Sun Belt's a very underrated conference. A lot of grit. Troy, Appalachian State, JMU, Georgia Southern. A lot of good teams, and I think they'll beat Buffalo. Memphis, Utah State. Expected a little more from Utah State this year. Kind of typical Memphis season, but yeah, these 6-6 bowls are kind of hard to predict. It could go either way, but I'm gonna go Memphis.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Memphis too. I think Utah State, they also aren't very they're I expected more from them, definitely. Memphis is hot right now. And also if you look at like Memphis' schedule, they haven't got crushed one game. Every game's been pretty close. They've played a lot of teams well, and they're pretty hot right now. They just lost to SMU, but before that they were killing teams. So I'll go with Memphis, but yeah, another 6-6 game that could be pretty close, I think.
Yeah, another battle mid. All right. Look,
Wow, the
Carolina bowl,
Carolina battle. Coastal Carolina versus East Carolina. This is a really good game.
Good
Coastal
color
Carolina
matchup.
had that year
Great color matchup.
Yeah, facts. Where they played Zach Wilson and they like jumped him before halftime. Um, but this year we're gonna go with East Carolina. They've been so inconsistent. It's crazy. I remember week 1 they played NC State and they lost by 1. Could have easily beat them when NC State was like number 13 at the time. They lost like Navy. They got killed with Houston, but yet they're still playing pretty well. They beat Temple recently, played Cincinnati well. So I'm gonna go with East Carolina. They've played a lot of games this year, and I think they're gonna go against their rival and play well.
I'm going Coastal. Coastal 9-3. They've been in and out of the rankings all year long. Play a good style of football. They sneakily also produced pros. Last year produced Isaiah Likely, been pretty good rookie tight end for the Ravens. Yeah, but yeah, I'm just excited to see what uniforms I've always loved the teal of Coastal Carolina, and the purple of East Carolina is electric. Wisconsin, Oklahoma State. I'm going Oklahoma State. Spencer Sanders is in the transfer portal, but like, does that mean he can't play it?
Yeah, I'd assume he probably already left, which is a shame with college football. I
But
don't
Wisconsin's just so mid, bro. I don't want to watch. Like, I think Oklahoma State will still win. But yeah, what happened to this team, man? Where they were like top
they're
like 10
really
in the
good.
nation, I think, at one point, something like
That
that.
loss to TCU killed them. They were extremely good at yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll win it, but could be closer than the experts think.
This game's interesting because both these teams are super similar too, where they're big football schools and they have a lot of hype going in, but they both struggled a little bit this year. But I still think Oklahoma State is better. They were really good. Then they just had some really bad losses. They got absolutely killed by Kansas State, I think, late in the year, which is shocking. Sanders gone, and also for Wisconsin, Graham Mertz just transferred as well. So both starting QBs won't be there, which is annoying. But yeah, that game's in Arizona. I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State. They travel well. Last year they beat Notre Dame. I was at that game. There were so many Oklahoma State fans. In Arizona too.
They do travel well.
UCF and Duke. A lot of people are gonna go UCF just because the record. However, I think Duke's pretty good. I mean, they went 8-4 in the ACC. That is very impressive. ACC I know is kind of a bad conference for Power 5, but still, Duke went 8-4, had some underrated good wins. Just beat Wake Forest. So I'm gonna go with the Duke Blue Devils. I think their QB is I don't know, some Riley Leonard. So yeah, shout out to Duke.
Yeah, shout out Duke. I honestly I was like, well, 8-4. I kind of expected like 7-5 or 6-6 when, but I didn't realize that they were so good this year. With that being said, I'm gonna go UCF.
They have had some good wins, UCF.
UCF has had some good wins. I'm pretty sure they were ranked pretty recently. Who'd they just lose to?
I think they lost to also is this the no it's not.
I
UCF
just keep forgetting all these matchups, but I know they
lost
just
to
had a
Tulane in the championship.
Tulane. That's what it was. Yeah. But they beat Tulane earlier in the year, and
Yeah.
it's like top 14 in the nation. So I like UCF. Um, Arkansas, Kansas, Kansas, man. I'm glad they stayed bowl eligible, but they definitely fell off from what 4-0.
Yeah.
So
The game day.
yeah. That being said, I'm gonna go Arkansas. But very disappointing season for Arkansas. Very disappointing. I thought they'd be like a 9-3 type of team, but 6-4. I mean 6-6. No, what I want to see, I think they'll still beat Kansas. A very skidding Kansas Jayhawks team.
I
With
agree, man. Kansas, what a season. It's nice to see them in the bowl. Obviously, they really fell off, but uh Jalen Daniels is playing again, which people don't realize. But yeah, shout out that for Kansas. So I'm gonna go actually Kansas to win this game. Is that my side? Yeah, Kansas to win this game. And KJ Jefferson is the QB for Arkansas. And he's not bad, but I'm gonna go. I think Jalen Daniels is the better in that QB competition. So I'm gonna go with that.
All right, Oregon, North Carolina. What you got? It's a good
This is a
game.
great game, great color combo game, great
Bet.
basketball game, and this is like our first game. I would say that's a really solid, like 9-3 and up game for Power Five teams. Holiday Bowl is a top tier bowl game. It's like a B tier bowl game in San Diego on Fox. I'll definitely watch this game, and I'm gonna go with the Ducks. I mean, assuming Bo Nix plays, which I think he will, because Bo Nix is one of those guys that loves college football. You know, he's could even come back next year. Maybe he has grit. I think he is a better QB over the young Drake May of North Carolina. And Oregon overall is way more talent. You know, those receivers, Troy Franklin's one of the best receivers in college football. And they have a really good D. I know a lot of those guys transferred, but I'm gonna go with the Ducks. And Dan Lanning, great coach.
Yeah.
Ducks
Um.
could have made the playoffs if they didn't lose to, Oregon State or
Yeah. State lost.
Washington.
Tough. Um. And Washington. Yeah. Oregon. I'm also going Oregon. North Carolina. Dude, I always keep. Did they just lose to NC State in
They
overtime? I
lost
want
to
to say.
Clemson in the ACC championship and NC State
Yeah,
and Georgia Tech. Lost three straight.
they lost 3 straight. Exactly. So they're limping. They're also limping into the playoffs. But with that being said, I think Oregon's just been they've been really good all year round. I mean, I know they had that really bad loss to Georgia, but that's also Georgia. And since then, they've been really, really good. So
Yeah.
8-2 down the stretch since, or 9-2 down the stretch since I think that game. So I'll pick Oregon. Texas Tech, Ole Miss. I'm taking Jackson Dart and the Rebels. Texas Tech is a sneaky team. I feel like they're always a team that's like ready to upset someone, but yeah, I like the SEC school Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rebels also. They had a really good year. Jackson Dart. I know it was a little disappointing because they started off really hot, but still a good year. And Jackson Dart will be coming back next year for them also. But I like what you said about Texas Tech. They're like 7-5 merchants, I feel like, and they
Yeah,
always can win a game. They're always in a solid bowl game and compete. But yeah, I will go with the Rebels. And then
facts.
next one,
Syracuse.
Syracuse, who had another great start to the year versus Minnesota. This is another solid bowl game. Minnesota, their QB is Tanner Morgan, who I remember hyping up at the start of the year, and I think they end up winning this game. Sean Tucker and Syracuse, Garrett Schrader at QB were solid, but they kind of slowed down throughout the end of the year. I think Minnesota's at a better pace, so I'll go with, the Gophers to win this one.
All right. Shoot. So yeah, I when I did my picks initially, I kind of went back and forth on this, and I still am going back and forth on this. Minnesota, I knew would be a sneaky good team this year, and they kind of were. Syracuse, really, really hot beginning, and then just hit a bad skid. So I don't really know. I'm gonna go with Syracuse though. Oklahoma and Florida State. I don't really know why this is a matchup, to be honest, but I guess just because Oklahoma's like Big 12, they play a lot of
I
good
just
matchups.
wanted to put these two big teams together
Yeah,
too.
but it's gonna be Florida State, and I think Florida State's a lot better team than Oklahoma.
I'm gonna go with the Sooners. I mean, I know this is a
No
shocking
surprise there. No surprise
pick
there.
to a lot of people, 6-6, but people don't realize OU was another team when Dylan Gabriel played this year. Florida State had a really good year. Don't get me wrong. Micah Pittman and Jordan Travis is a dog. It's nice to see FSU good again too. Life's good when Florida State is good at football, along with USC and all those programs. But Oklahoma, that skid they had where they lost to TCU in Texas and got killed by Texas. That was when Dylan Gabriel was hurt. They had a few subs. They could have easily been an 8-4 team. Close games to Texas Tech, West Virginia, Baylor. So I'm gonna go with them. I think Dylan Gabriel's a good QB. I hope he comes back for the Sooners next year. Marvin Mims, of course, Eric Gray. I like the Sooners to win this game. They show up in bowl games. They did it last year. They had a bad year after Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley left, and they killed Oregon in the Alamo Bowl. So I'm gonna go with the Sooners to shock a lot of people and beat Florida State.
Respect.
Texas versus UW is a really good game as well. That's another Alamo Bowl, which is like the Holiday Bowl, another top B tier bowl game. And this is a Pac-12 versus top Pac-12 team versus a top Big 12 team. Quinn Ewers, I love the freshmen and sophomores QBs because they're forced to play in these games. They can't opt out, so we get to see Quinn Ewers. And I hope Michael Penix is playing this game. I'm not sure. He's eligible to go to the NFL, I think, but I think he may be playing in it. If he is, I like UW to win it. I think Michael Penix was a Heisman robbery. He's a really, really good player. UW super solid, and I think the Huskies win this game and shock Texas, who is really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Texas here. But even if Penix opts out, if he opts out, then we might get a Teddy Purcell legacy game. So
It's not a Teddy Purcell.
so yeah, I'm gonna go Texas. I think I picked UW in my the picks I have in the group I did a few days ago, but I think I'm gonna change that to Texas. I just think they played Alabama really close. They had a lot all their losses were besides a couple I think could have been wins, and Washington been really good all year round. I think it's 50-50 like the public has said, but I'm gonna go Texas.
And I just missed this. Michael Penix will be returning to the 2023 season. He already announced it. Good for him.
Oh, okay, sweet. And then the Terrapins of Maryland versus NC State. I'm gonna pick NC State. Just had a nice win over North Carolina pretty recently, and yeah, I think disappointing for a lot of people NC State season,
Yeah.
but this is kind of where I expected them to be at the end of the year. I didn't have very high hopes for them like some people did. And Maryland, sneaky good team though. Like they kept Ohio State pretty close, but
Yeah. That's true. NC State's a good team. Like everyone was like shocked when NC State beat UNC, but at the start of the year, NC State was ranked higher than UNC. And I mean, they did go 8.
way higher, yeah.
They had Devin Leary. I think he's hurt. So now they're using Finley, the brother of the old QB Finley. So I think NC State wins this game. They're a really solid team. But yeah, I like we said about Maryland. Tua's little brothers done a really good job for them at QB.
Good amount. Okay. Yeah, and then Pitt and UCLA. Pitt and UCLA.
I'm a huge UCLA guy. I mean, this team should have gone 10-2. They were this close to going 10-2. They had the most typical Pac-12 loss. Saturday night, 7:30.
Arizona.
Lost to U of A. Their 2 losses would have been so respectable if their 2 losses were just Oregon and USC. That would have been totally respectable. They'd be playing in the Rose Bowl right now or the Alamo Bowl. Before they're going to be playing in the Sun Bowl, which isn't awful. Against Pitt. So Keenan Slovis who entered the transfer portal, so he won't even be playing. He's be playing UCLA. I think this is an easy win for DTR and the Bruins, and I really do respect DTR. He's a guy that simply loves the Pac-12, loves UCLA, and loves football. It's like his 5th year, I believe, playing for the Bruins. So I'm gonna go with the Bruins to win this game. And I am high on the Pac-12 and a little biased, but I think they're gonna prove a lot of people wrong this playoffs.
Yeah, I think I got UCLA in a landslide as well. Dorian. DTR is going to be playing his last game as a Bruin, and like he tweeted out that he finished his last class and he's going to play his heart out, and they just have the edge over Pitt in pretty much all areas.
That is Jack Charbonnet though.
Yeah, facts. That's true. Notre Dame, South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina really turned it around. I thought they'd go like 6-6 this year, and then Spencer Rattler came alive. They put up like 63 on Tennessee. Who was their other big one they just recently had?
Tennessee and Clemson.
Clemson, right. So really big wins. But Notre Dame also turned things around. I think it's a really good game. I like this matchup in the Gator Bowl. I'm gonna go with Notre Dame, as I'm sure you will too.
Well, first of all, shout out to the committee. I think this is the best matchup out of every single bowl matchup, as you just said, Oliver. 8-4, 8-4. There's a reason it's almost 50-50 the picks. 51-49 as you see right there. Really similar in rankings. This is the closest game by far. And what they both have in common is it's the beat Clemson Bowl. Clemson went 10-2. Both of their losses are these two teams. So shout out South Carolina and Notre Dame. They both beat Clemson. Really even game. However, I'm going to go with the Gamecocks, actually. I think that it's a shocking. I know I'm a Notre Dame guy. My brother goes there. But Notre Dame, Michael Mayer will not be playing in this game. Drew Pine just transferred. So it's either going to be freshman Stephen Jelly or Buckner, who's returning off an injury. And I think Shane Beaver and Spencer Rattler beat the Irish and shocked them. All right. All right. The Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl.
That's sick.
Shout out Jake Marsh. He'll be announcing this game from Barstool. Good for him, along with Big Cat and Dave, I think. I don't know much about either of these teams. Ohio, though, has the better record. I think they're a MACtion school. Wyoming has been a little bit struggling in the Mountain West, so I'm going to go with Ohio to win it.
Yeah, like you said, don't really know much. I'll pick better team, I guess, record-wise.
I'm hoping
Looks like they won a conference championship, too.
Really? Okay.
Or maybe they could have gone 9-3 and lost it. Who knows? But they played in one.
Yeah, they lost to Toledo in the championship.
Yeah. Tennessee, Clemson.
Oh, that's a great game.
Hammering the Tennessee, man. Clemson are such frauds, bro. I can't get over it. But yeah, they shouldn't be ranked 7 at all. They're not that guy. So I'm going Tennessee.
Yeah, the Orange Bowl was taken literally this year.
Oh yeah.
Clemson. Also, all South Carolina fans are saying is it's the Bieber Bowl. Their coach Shane Bieber, as South Carolina they both lost to this team.
Yeah.
South Carolina beat both these teams. So yeah, Tennessee, Clemson, really good game. This is a solid matchup here in the Orange Bowl. Our first New Year's Six Bowl, by the way. I'm gonna go with Tennessee as well. I know there's no Hendon Hooker, but Tennessee is still really strong around the way. And there's no DJ either. He just transferred. So it's going to be Cade. We'll see what the young guys do. But I'm going to go with the Volunteers to win it. Actually, no, I'm switching. I'm switching it all over. I think right now there's going to be a change in the Clemson environment. You know, they know their season. They're looking at next year now. They got their two guys from next year, Will Shipley and, of course, Cade Klubnik. I think Clemson's going to win this game. Tennessee is going to have a lot of guys opting out. They obviously don't have their star QB, who I know he's hurt, but who's still robbed of a Heisman ceremony. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Clemson.
All right. Bama.
Another great game over Bama and Kansas State. A lot of people thought maybe Bama should have made the playoffs, but it just, unfortunately, that loss to LSU screwed them. But, yeah, 2-loss Bama with Bryce Young, who I believe will be playing in this game. I don't know. Oliver, you sure? Yeah. And then Kansas State with Will Howard. But if Adrian Martinez is good to go, they'll go with him. Deuce Vaughn at running back. However, I'm going to go with the Crimson Tide to win this game in a close one. I think that they'll play them really well. Jahmyr Gibbs, dog of a running back. And Alabama is on a really good streak right now. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a fun game in New Orleans on Christmas Eve. Sorry, New Year's Eve.
Yep. Also going Bama. Kansas State, great season, though. Another one of those teams, like, kind of came out of nowhere and stayed good, kind of like Tennessee or South Carolina. And yeah, but I am going with Bama. I mean, can't go against Bama against an inferior opponent really that often. It doesn't happen. So Nick Saban.
No Will Anderson, unfortunately.
Okay, I mean that changes a little bit thing, but they're probably gonna put up another 5-star recruit up to fill his shoes, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got Bama. Iowa, Kentucky. I'll go Kentucky. I don't know if Levis is playing, probably not. Seems like one of these guys who would opt out. But I sentence you to 100 hours of watching Iowa Hawkeyes offense. That'd be a pretty bad sentencing, but yeah, I got Kentucky.
Yeah, Will Levis did opt out. So shout out to Will Levis and shout out to the GOAT, Spencer Petras, who may be playing in his last Iowa game ever. I don't know if he's gonna hit the portal or stay in the league.
McNamara, man.
He's already a fifth year, I think. But shout out Bay Area legend Spencer Petras, my cousin, good friends with him from high school, same grade, same friend group. Yeah, Iowa legend Spencer Petras, and I think their defense is really solid. So whether it's Petras or that backup QB, I think they can compete for some non-Levis Kentucky team. I will be going with Iowa to win this in the Music City Bowl. This is a
Sheesh.
good matchup, to be honest.
Yeah, lucky battle mid though. All right.
All
Okay,
right.
we'll come back to these. We'll come back to these.
Yeah, good shout, good shout. Mississippi State versus Illinois. Illinois has been actually really solid this year, underrated solid, but Mississippi State as well. Mississippi State's a team that competed with Alabama. They almost won that game a few weeks ago. I don't know if you remember that. Illinois has been winning it. Tommy DeVito, but I'm gonna go with Mississippi State just because I think Will Rogers is one of the best QBs in the country right now for Mississippi State. So I'm gonna go with them.
Yep, 100% agree. Will Rogers gonna lead his team to victory. Very underrated college football quarterback. But shout out the Illini. Not really known usually as a football program. They had a great year this year.
Yeah.
Tulane, USC. I think USC kills Tulane, but I think it's really cool that Tulane is in the situation at the Cotton Bowl. Like, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Not me. So I think this is really cool. I do think USC runs away with it though.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. And it's actually funny because, like, I don't know. You never would expect Caleb Williams would go 11-2 and have to play Tulane. If
Yeah.
USC would be playing Tulane sometime, I'd be like, surely Williams would opt out of that game. But he can't. He's only a sophomore. I don't know about his injury status. So that's pretty cool for just a Tulane students, Tulane players to be playing Caleb Williams, the Heisman winner, in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. So definitely going to go with USC by like 20, but it's going to be a fun game for sure. Good color combo, too. Green versus that classical USC red.
Yeah, I mess with that. And then LSU versus
LSU. Oh, yeah. Is that you?
upset boys, Purdue.
LSU had a sneaky good year. I know they had a tough loss at the end of the year versus A&M and a tough loss early in the year versus
Yeah.
FSU. But, I mean, Brian Kelly did a solid job in his first year, I will say. And Purdue did too, though. They made the Big Ten Championship, and they competed well with Michigan. This is a solid game, I think. In the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, this is a tough one, man. Alexander O'Connell versus Jaden Daniels. I'm going to go with LSU, but I think it'll be close.
Yeah.
That's on top.
I also like LSU, but I mean Purdue, they hung with Michigan for a good while. I mean, I think they're a Big Ten team, like they have some firepower. But at the end of the day, I think LSU a bit too flashy for them. They're gonna carry them away. Utah, Penn State. I do like the Utes in this. Beat USC twice. It kind of reminds me of beating Oregon twice last year. It's a good Utah team. Cam Rising, good quarterback. And I've always been on the edge about this Penn State team. They're a good team, but I think Utah's got the edge here.
Yeah, I love me the Rose Bowl. I remember last year's Rose Bowl, such a good game. It was our first episode of 2022, and we talked about Jackson Smith and Jibba's insane performance versus Utah and Dalton Kincaid. Unfortunately for the Utes, Dalton Kincaid already opted out, but I believe Rising will be playing. The guy's a dog. But for Penn State, dude, that's a good team, Oliver. I mean, we've seen Sean Clifford now, I think, like all 4 years of our high school. He's been a starter, just like kind of like DTR for the Nittany Lions. So I think this is a good game, but I think the Utes do end up winning this game. They get revenge from the last year Rose Bowl loss in a thriller overtime game. Great color combo, great sunset. Shout out the Rose Bowl, Nittany Lions versus the Utes. That's gonna be a fun one. Great season for both those teams.
And we'll go back up to TCU, 3-seed TCU, Heisman finalist Max Duggan leading the way for them versus JJ McCarthy and his Michigan Wolverines, undefeated Big Ten champs.
Yeah, first of all, I think that the committee got it right. Let's get that clear. Like a lot of people were.
I agree. I'm glad they didn't leave TCU out for playing the extra game.
A solid 4 teams. It's different than usual, which I like. It would have been fun to have USC instead of Ohio State. It would have been 3 like newer teams in Georgia. That would have been fun. But that Ohio State aspect is interesting. So yeah, starting with this game, I'll go first. TCU and Michigan, 12-1 versus 13-0. This is gonna be a really fun, firepower, high offense game down in the Fiesta Bowl and the Cardinal Stadium in Glendale. I think Duggan plays a dog of a game. The Michigan defense is able to stop him a little bit, and Michigan ends up pulling away and wins this game by about 10. I think McCarthy, Corum, this defense of Michigan is really solid. They are more talented, better recruited, and they make the national championship. First time we see Michigan in the Natty in a long time to get over that semifinals hump, which they weren't able to do last year. So they already have the experience of the playoffs, which TCU does not, as they got killed by Georgia last year. TCU has never made the playoffs, but it would be a great season for the Horned Frogs, obviously. And I think Michigan makes it to the national championship and represents the Big Ten Conference.
Yep. I like that prediction so much that I agree with it. And I think Michigan wins this game. Final score will be 30-17 in Michigan's favor. I think Michigan gets off to a big start, like 17-0 or something, but then TCU battles back and then Michigan pulls away again. yeah, I can kind of see the storylines here. Like, well, TCU's the worst 3 seed ever, and then they kind of prove himself. But I think Michigan does win. They've been better all year. They proved me wrong all year. I didn't think they would be. I kept thinking they'd be overrated after that Mickey Mouse, like UConn, Hawaii, Colorado State
Yeah,
schedules that they had. I was like, dude, come on, this team's not good. And they
I remember
proved me wrong
Penn State.
continually. What?
You picked Penn State to beat Michigan that one week. We predicted all the football games.
Yeah, I did. I was like, come on, dude. But no, yeah, they proved me wrong, and I think they will make to the national championship and lose to the Georgia Bulldogs, who I think are going back to back this year. By far the best team in college football to me. Been that one since day one. I mean, Ohio State is a good team, don't get me wrong, but they've shown their flaws, especially teams like Maryland and Northwestern. They've been shaky. And that they're not gonna have any room for error against a defense like Georgia, uh, and a team that's been there before, just won the national championship with 25-year-old quarterback Stetson Bennett, stud tight end, stud defense. I mean, they've got it all.
Yeah. I mean, this is gonna be a great game. First of all, I do think that it's gonna be closer than some people expect. We've seen Georgia struggle a few times all year. It hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows for them.
Yeah,
Obviously,
sure.
but that Missouri game early in the season was a little bit of an eye opener. Shows that they're beatable. Maybe they've
Mhm.
had a few chances, and Ohio State once again is an insane team. Their QB CJ Stroud was my Heisman prediction at the start of the year. He was a finalist this year and last year. He's a dog, and he's blessed to have an opportunity to be in this game as the UC Trojans losing to Utah helped him. However, I am going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, you got to pick them. Brock Bowers, Stetson Bennett, and then, of course, that Georgia defense. And Kirby Smart, man, he's a good player. Or, sorry, great coach. Not
Yeah.
player. He's done a great job. Maybe could be the next Nick Saban. Who knows? I think he's a better coach than Ryan Day. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm going to go with Georgia in a closer game than the experts think. I'm telling you guys right now. I was really bummed to see Jackson Smith and Chiba opted out of this game. I know he's hurt. I
He only
think.
played like 3 games this year, man. Super
Yeah.
disappointing. I thought he was gonna have like a monster, like record-breaking season.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen someone opt out of a playoff game, but I understand he's hurt, so that's fair. But yeah, so we're gonna go with Georgia Michigan championship, and I like the
Oh, really?
Michigan Wolverines to pull it out and win the national championship in
Whoa.
Georgia. Yeah, I know that's a big surprise, but I mean, yeah, it's different, but I think Michigan is just as good this year. Let's think about it last year. I mean, Georgia was the 2 seed. They lost to Ohio State. They lost to Alabama in the SEC championship. They ended up coming back and they beat them in the national championship as the 2 seed and won it all. Last year, we saw Michigan lose with J.J. McCarthy, K. McNara. I think started that game that we saw them lose to Georgia. I think they're going to come back this year. They're better than they think. They've proved a lot of people wrong. They won at Ohio State this year. They continue to dominate it. They've had that one shaky game this year at home. I believe that was versus Illinois, but we'll see, man. It's going to be close. But I think that Michigan-Georgia championship would be a really, really solid game, and it's going to be a fun playoffs. I think it was a solid year of college football this year.
Sure, I think it was a lot of surprises.
Good year for our Pac-12.
What's up?
Good year for the Pac-12.
Yeah, very good year. Sadly, couldn't get a couldn't get a playoff team once again, but they got close with USC. And I'm going Georgia. I do think it's gonna be a lot closer than their game last year, but I do think just Georgia is just too much for Michigan to handle. But that being said, I can definitely see Michigan win this game, if it occurs. Yeah, I mean they beat Ohio State 2 years in a row, which is just crazy for that program, good for that program. And yeah, they have some damn ball players. Blake Corum is a big loss for them though. But JJ McCarthy, young kid, he's been really good. Got some studs on that team, and they're also playing for something. Just recently lost one of their teammates to cancer. I know he wasn't on the field; he was always in the wheelchair, but still a big player for that program, and he'll be missed. And I think Michigan will be playing with that chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I still have Georgia to win it all and defend their championship.
Yeah, the Bulldogs are dogs. But yeah, should be a good game. Great college football season once again. We enjoyed covering it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. We love these prediction videos. I don't know when our next one will be. I mean, obviously NFL predictions will be coming soon. That's always a huge video. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably see you guys next week. except I have my finals the week after this one, but we'll probably see you next week. If not, definitely the week after that. And yeah, run this video up,
Join the
share with your
group.
friends, and I'll put the link in the description for the group to join. So
Once again, winner of the group gets to come on the show,
yes,
do a
sir.
prediction video with us. So yeah, last year we had Luke on, we had the Able twins on for a show, we had my brother on. So yeah, shout
Yeah,
out.
Luke keeps winning, so someone dethrone Mr. Luke Young.
Yeah.
All right, peace out.